Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello and welcome to Season 4 of the Apex Racing League Prototype Championship live on Apex Racing TV. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick. Alongside me for this round 1 of the championship is Austin Knight, and John Robertson is broadcasting you this stream to our YouTube channel. Austin, brilliant to be back for another season of this championship. We get to see the LMP2 cars, which we see a decent amount of already, I think, but also these brilliant LMP1 cars. There's few better championships for the LMP1 cars than this series. And so it should be a fantastic 9 rounds, and we start off here at Spa.
Yeah, what a place to start. It's such a fantastic track, and it's fantastic to be in the booths covering these wonderful cars here in beautiful hills of Belgium here at Spa. And I am so excited because it's Spa. Everyone has a very good soft spot for Spa. I like Spa. It's a very fun track to drive around on your own and to race around here. Oh, it provides heart-pounding action, sometimes a little bit too heart-pounding at times. And I know Spa just had its recent racing season open, and it showed off that new configuration, air quotes around configuration, shown off right there with the new El Rouge runoff. El Rouge Radion runoff at the outside, safety improvements right there. And also, No Name Corner gained a corner. The motorbikes, they use a much tighter corner at No Name, so, you know, this is now outdated Spa, but for the cars, it kept pretty much the same.
Yes, I wonder how long it will take for us to get an update. It would be nice to get new graphics around this place, because we want to show off the hills like we get at the Red Bull Ring. We want to see more of that on the iRacing simulator, as you can see at the top there.
iRacing, which track it took iRacing so long to... Oh, Lime Rock.
Yes. Yeah,
that
took a while.
Years?
Yeah, I think, there was,
okay,
what, 16 years between scans, I think, for Lime Rock.
It was something ridiculous. Because it wasn't from the I think it was iRacing 2008, and then they updated it in 2020.
Well, I think the original scan was 2004.
Yes.
I think because it was like the original test track, wasn't it? So, I think even longer. So just 6 more years, guys. This place was scanned in 2010. So, or 4 more years, apologies, until we get the new configuration of this track. You can see at the top there. the categories of cars that we have for this championship. We have the P1s, which is just a single class, and then we have the P2 Pro and the P2 AM. Now the cutoff, and we always get this question between the Pro and the AMs, where it's based on previous season results and iRating. Mainly iRating, and so the iRating cutoff is about 3,000 iRating, albeit we'll make adjustments depending on how much experience each driver has. And the drivers are currently in a 10-minute qualifying session. They have 4 flying laps that they can set around this extremely long circuit, the longest circuit that we will visit all season long. They will probably not even use all 4 of those laps when you consider they also got to do an out lap, and so you'll soon see the timing board pop up as Luritzen, I believe it's a new driver to the championship, makes a mistake. He toes back. He's going to get a new set of tires.
Yeah, Alexander Luritzen heading through the bus stop chicane. Unfortunate right there. Locked at the brakes. So the first time on the board actually goes to a LMP2 AM driver. Shuri gets that privilege right there to be the first one to put a lap on the board right there. Open solo qualifying here to avoid any crazy drafting trains. And also, this track is pretty... when you get to these LMP1 cars, you kind of need all the room that you could get. So I believe it's close qualifying for most of the season, right?
Yes, all the season. It will be solo qualifying. Pretty much the only championship we have for that, just because multi-class qualifying is a nightmare.
Yes, it is. As somebody who does a lot of GT4 TCR racing, multi-class racing like that, I can confirm it is a nightmare at times. But with these prototypes, the speed is cranked up to 11 pretty much. The LMP2s, very bare bones compared to the LMP1s, but both the LMP1s and LMP2s, crazy fast racing cars.
They really are, and I think this circuit gets better and better the faster you go rounds, the faster cars that you race. So it should be a real nice place to show off the downforce and the power of these cars. So currently, under the first lap times, Lucky Brown at the front of the P1s. We got Nicole Foggy, who's a very experienced driver in the supercars, in the GT3s, in the touring cars, of course. I believe he's already done 1 series in this as when he's racing for Apex Racing Academy. He was a sponsor for this championship. We don't have allegiances. Personally, I think Nicole is not a nice man, honestly, so I mean probably counteracts it a little bit, but he is currently at the top of the standings. Jack Wells, that's a very strong time from him. He moves now up into P2 with his second lap, and it looks like that might be the end of his qualifying because he is going very slowly.
Yeah, some drivers would just be okay with putting in 1 lap around here. Some of them a little bit too. We are halfway through qualifying. I'm one of those drivers who just, I'll put a lap in and then I'll just stop, because around Spa, the starts here can get kind of chaotic. I'm pretty sure if you're a connoisseur of very hilarious events on iRacing, you have seen the classic Spa start of everybody going up El Rouge Radion and how it's blind through that corner just to see a car flying through the air and pretty much a car park forming in front of you. Some of these drivers, they see that, they fear that, and they just wait. Now, in the LMP1s, I'm not expecting that to happen because we only have 8 drivers in that series, but in the LMP2s, I'm expecting a few of the Pro-Ams to be starting from the back and not really putting in a qualifying time. We have 3 drivers who have not set a lap time yet, as both their lap times have actually been invalidated, but all the LMP2s except for 2 drivers are still out there on the track. But some drivers, they just put in that 1 lap of qualifying and they feel like, yep, that's the lap I need, and I'm going to go get a beer.
Yes.
Or water. Whatever drink is they prefer that is legal for their age in their country.
Yes, maybe get some glucosade ports down their system, some energy drink alcohol, and
maybe a green Red Bull.
Maybe a green Red Bull. Very much the craze at the moment. Buy me one of them. I'm a shrill for new colours. Here is Luritzen, who messed up the chicane the last time he went through it. This time, he's pretty much nailed it. He approaches the line, the number 12, and he goes, that's a strong lap, he goes P5. And a reminder that we've got the P2 and the P2 Pro and the P2 AM separated on the time tower. However, they are racing against one another. You score points for overall position within your car class. And so the P2 AMs want to beat the P2 Pros and vice versa. There's no interest in them beating the P1s, however.
Yeah.
So they are battling against one another, but mainly they'll be segregated as Grassetto. Really strong time there from Grassetto. Not the highest I-rated driver in the series, but he moves up to P4. That's really punching above his weight.
Yeah, Grassetto up into P4. He's actually underneath the cut line, but based off his previous season performances, he is a LMP2 Pro driver. And that is one of those outside factors.
A little bit of a behind the scenes here, Austin. Actually, I don't think he's ever done a series before, but because we don't know how quick he is, default is he could be very fast, and I think the ARL admins have anticipated that very well and puts him in the pros because well, he does seem very fast.
Yeah, he is very fast. We've seen him in other. I've seen him in other series. I'm guessing that's where I know him from. And anytime I see somebody else in another series outside of an ARL series, I just immediately think, oh, it's an ARL series.
This is De Philippis, and on the time tower it's just coming up as De at the moment, but I'm sure we'll change that for later rounds. But this is De Philippis, the Italian driver. However, the 10 minutes is up, and with this configuration you cannot complete the lap time that you start, and so that will be it for qualifying. And we can take you through your grid. Lockie Brown on pole position then by a second. Some big gaps in this P1 field. We have got a wide range of iRatings, but I think Brown is going to be challenged by a couple of drivers at least. Jack Wells there in second place. Then it's Matt Loveridge, Hilner Wilhelmsen, Chase Robertson, Roberto De Philippis, Stian Solberg, and Louis Araya. Rounds out the top 8. And then top of the P2 Pros is Nicole Foggy. Then it's Dan Kraft, Daniel Civisabo, Fabio Grassetto in 12th overall. Then it's Matthias Berg, Alexander Luritzen. Top of the P2 AMs is Jake Shuri ahead of Thomas Mork. And then behind him, it's Brian Pigmans, Tim Perry, Jaden Burke, Ivan Diemrich, Morton Kofed, Justus Marks, and Paul Klist, rounding out the 23 drivers.
Rolling start here at Spa. Now, Sam, with this rolling start procedure, I know some multi-class events, they let the faster cars go a little bit ahead, and so they aren't caught up in any sort of unfortunate events. Is there a specific starting procedure for the LMP2s here?
There is. So the drivers should separate for the P1s and the P2s. There should be a few seconds gap between the two cars, and the race leader or the pole sitter from each car class can basically go once they are out of the chicane. Once they are onto the pit straights, they can launch, and then everyone else in that car class will put their foot down as well, and the race will begin. So yeah, that should be how it all works, as long as it goes according to plan. I just hope, Austin, and the judges have been warned about this, that they leave plenty of room for one another through that chicane, because I'm sure you've seen it in the past. It can very easily get a lot of contact in the second part of that final chicane.
There have been a lot of unfortunate incidents, a little bit of elbows out already off the line. I don't think we're going to be seeing that today, as, hey, we're rocking and rolling off the grid right now here at Spa in the hills of Belgium. It's our top 8 drivers, all the LMP1s right there. Audis and Porsches equally dotting the field right there. And, you know, it's looking like you know, the Audis and the Porsches are pretty balanced around here with a good balance. And off they go. Lockie Brown takes to the green to start off the ARL Prototype Championships. They're 4 wide in the background.
Yeah, and just making up a few places there straight away was Louis Araya. I think putting the boost down and managed to get away very well. Here comes the P2s, a lot more of them on the grid. As Nicole Foggy's got control of the field, he hesitates a while. Does one go straight away? Now he puts his foot down, and the P2s are underway here at Spa. And it was a very strong start for him to pull away from the couple of Pure Sims Esports cars. There's a little bit of a late break there, just about gets it stopped. Does the number 12 almost makes contact with his teammate as well. That was very close for Alexander Loritzen, who I don't think lost any time in the end. Another contact. Is that going to involve anyone else in behind? Unfortunately, they get on the brakes seemingly, and that was good awareness from those drivers. That was all very unnecessary. Jake Shuri and I think Tim Perry as well, who has won the Amateur Championship in the past in the P2s. He was involved in that incident as Dan Kraft storms around the outside. Sebastian Vettel star right there and into the lead at Lake Coombe. Big slipstream effect seemingly around that part of the circuit, and again Loritzen nearly coming into the back of Grosseto. Somehow Grosseto has stayed in 4th place throughout this first lap.
Very big crash at the start of the race for our amateur pole sitter Jake Shuri and Tim Perry getting into it with each other coming out of turn 1, and this is a little bit of a tricky situation. 3 wide heading into Buwan. And the 106 kind of flanked by Matthias Burke and Alexander Loretrin, the 2 teammates of each other, going on the outside, going on the inside, and both of them making up spots right there.
I feel like that battle could go on for the entire race. Loritzen super aggressive so far in this race, and he is up a couple of places, but he's very fortunate not to have been involved in a crash so far, as Brown comes around to complete his first lap already 1.3 seconds ahead of Matt Loveridge, who was able to get past Jack Wells. I don't think we saw that one, but Loveridge managing to get past Jack Wells. I imagine that was maybe on the run up the Kemmel Straight. Meanwhile, Araya defending against Robertson, so Araya trying to protect that position that he gained on off the race start.
Yeah, Araya was really aggressive off the line. So we go looking at this side-by-side fight for 2nd place. Around the outside, getting the power down, getting that grip all the way down there. Daniel City Salzbo just swings it around there to stay in 2nd place ahead of Nico Foggy. Foggy, pole sitter, drops down two spots to end up in, well, 3rd place, as this train of LMP2s makes their way through turn 1 and heading into the world-famous Al Rouge Radiana turns. And this corner is just so much fun just to fling a car through there. Doesn't matter if it's a fast car or a slow car, it's always fun.
Yeah, it sure is easy flat, however, for these cars. Look at the dancing about. They're trying to break the just. Seems like Loritzen's been able to get away from these drivers, but there goes Grosseto trying to get back past Berg, but now Grosseto is going to lose a position from all of this, it looks like, to Thomas Mork, who's trying to go the long way, but that was not possible through Malmadia on that occasion. Now he's having to go defensive. How these guys haven't had a big crash so far. They are leaving nothing between one another in the early stages of this 1 hour race, but this is allowing the field to separate out slightly, and I think the draft effect in these P2 cars, Austin, as far as I'm aware, is very strong, and so it'll be very tricky for these guys to pull away unless they're over half a second lap faster.
Yeah, especially at Spa, this turns into an absolute wind tunnel of a track with the draft. That is a bad place to rejoin the track. Now it's Luis Araya giving a little paint job swap right there to Matt Loveridge, who was spun around the bus stop chicane. And I'm guessing that side check from Luis right there definitely would have gave him some side damage as well, and might have knocked the wheel out of alignment. That was a poor place to park the car off the exit of the bus stop. Was he there because of any tap right there? I'm not sure, but it looks like the car just wouldn't turn, or is just I don't know what to do here, I should just let everybody by, as Robert D. Phillips round the outside of Charles Robertson. Pretty easy as pie move, and a little hop and a skip and a jump, and that's going to be a slowdown penalty right there. So D. Phillips is up and D. Phillips is down, and D. Phillips is hopping through the air like a kangaroo.
Wonder if we get a replay of that Loveridge instant, because he was fairly close to Wells, I think. Was in P2, was Loveridge, so that's quite a big hit for him early on. And this will test. No, it was all by himself, so he was trying to keep up with Lockie Brown up ahead. And to be fair, Brown wasn't pulling away too much. I think Loveridge may have had the pace to keep tabs with him, but then just turns in mid-corner. and then does the smart thing of reversing, but he doesn't reverse far enough and tries to make a very awkward rejoin as Grosseto is now rejoining the circuit. He hasn't lost that much time there. He's collided with Mateus Burke, I think. Those two were close to one another, and it means that Pigmans moves up to P5, and Perry, despite that incident early on, is not too far behind those guys.
Yeah, Tim Perry and Jake Shuri are are still on. Oh, that is just over ambitious. Yeah, I think over ambitious is being generous of that. That is you know, I'm gonna have to get that out of the censor bar even if I want to make that comment.
I think he was going for the dummy, wasn't he?
He was going
so
for
you
the dummy.
the other car
I'm just
would
going to stay
move.
on the outside, then I'm going to dive up onto the inside. Unfortunately, on that transition of diving down to the inside, they hit the brake in front of him, and the nose went up into the rear, and you know, it doesn't work for race cars. Big crash.
One of our first moves at Eau Rouge there for De Philippis. After that off on the previous lap, he's been able to get back past Robertson again, but I wonder if he's got a bit of damage after that bounding over the grass just a lap ago.
That'll be all under the car. Chase is very slow through Eller's Radion there. Yeah, I think he saw them coming up and was just like, you know what, you just go past. I'm just here for the experience right now. And, you know, some of these drivers, they hop in here knowing that just to have a good fun. And, you know, everybody enjoys a good league race in there. But, man. Chase. Just, that was a very close move right there.
Closing in a little bit at the front of the P2s on the last lap. Civi Sabo was the fastest of these three drivers, but Kraft and Civi Sabo are teammates, both drivers for Pure Sims Esports. And then you got Nicole Foggy, who is a very accomplished driver, two-time V8 Supercars winner, I think, or maybe just one time, won a bunch of races though. One of the first days I ever commentated on was that one, along with very good results. I think he may have finished in P3 in World GT in the last season of that. So very successful drive. So this is a very high quality front of the P2 field. It'll be tricky for anyone to get close to these guys. And at the moment, they all seem very evenly matched, all lapping within a couple of tenths of one another. Yeah,
and Daniel Pratt behind him is his teammate, Daniel Civi Sasbo. And if you're a fan of the Apex Racing League and all of our stuff here on Apex Racing TV, you'll definitely recognize that name, Daniel Civi Sasbo. Very accomplished driver here. And we've seen a lot of his work out there. So it's a Pure Sims Esports 1-2 right now. And then it is Nico Foggy for Apex Racing, Apex Racing Team, right? In
Academy.
Third. Academy. Yeah, I see the green. It is Academy. I saw the blue wheels and I got confused.
Very understand.
Very easy for me to get confused because I saw the blue instead of the car. But yeah, loving the blue rims, I must say. But yeah, Apex Racing Academy in third and Pure Sims Esports 1-2. And then it is Lauritsen in fourth, who was driving with his teammates. Unfortunately, that incident dropped his teammate back down as Burke has hopped in. His teammate has hopped into the pit lane after that incident with Grosseto.
Yes. He had a big hit against the wall, didn't he? Burke, I was surprised that he was actually able to get back to the pits. Good news for him and all the other drivers who have had issues so far. You do get a faster pair. You can get a faster pair, which will immediately fix all the damage, and so you can stay in the race. You do need to finish, however, either 0, 1 or 2 laps down on your car class leader in order to score any points. So it's very important that you do finish the race, but around a long circle like this, there's no way any of these drivers are going to drop more than, going to drop 3 laps down. Even if they do have to tow back and lose a lap, they will all finish within a couple of laps of one another, I am sure. And so you pretty much just need to get to the end and make sure you don't have 2 big incidents, and you should be all right. At the moment, this is the closest battle going on out on circuit. I wonder if we go right back to lap 1. I'm not sure if it'll still be on the event viewer, but see what happened to Tim Perry and Jake Shuri off the start, because we saw them come together just after La Source,
Yes.
and that is why those two drivers are currently about a lap and a half behind their car class leaders.
So Tim Perry got pushed out wide. He was staying by the curb right there. The 217. Well, it looked like the 217 was just a little bit. I might have had a car on his right, and he might have turned left, and Tim Perry was right there. Because Tim Perry, I would say, is the innocent bystander in all that entire situation. And Jake Shuri might have saw a car on his right and jerked left just a little bit. Unfortunately, that hooked the nose of Tim Perry's car and collected them both in that incident. But very unfortunate way to start the season for those two drivers.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, they did seem to kind of get a little bit connected, didn't they? And just pleased that they didn't create a roadblock for the other drivers. Instead, they managed to stay to the left side of the circuit and minimise the potential issues. Just a reminder to anyone who is tuning in, who has suddenly seen these cars, I think I fancy racing, perhaps in these vehicles. Do check out apexracingleague.com and you can get yourself signed up for the rest of the season. 9 rounds this championship, and you do get a drop score. So if you sign up 1 round late, no biggie. You can sign up, and we have seen drivers like Nick Madsen, I recall, in the Porsche Cup Championship back when it was only 6 rounds, I think, managed to win the title. So it is very possible for you to come back. And of course, if you go to Apex Racing League, you can also check out sign-up details for our Apex Racing Academy Formula 4 Championship, the first Formula 4 Championship we've ever done at Apex Racing League. And you can go sign up to that. That starts in a couple of weeks' time and will be on Saturday evenings using our elimination heat format. Already got a decent amount of sign-ups for that, so will be very entertaining. Also, our GT3 Championship as well will be soon underway. So do check out our Discord server as well. I think there's a link in the description below. Click on that. You can see whenever a new championship goes live at Apex Racing League. As Lockie Brown absolutely dominating. He is 13 seconds clear of the rest of the field and lapping about 2 seconds lap faster than everyone else.
Yeah, Lockie Brown, absolutely an animal across this track. He set the fastest lap on lap 3, and he's just been putting inconsistent lap times, lap after lap, 152.7, 152s, 153s, and just absolutely outpacing Jack Wells right behind him. And, you know, that Audi is a rocket ship around here. And it kind of shows, it kind of plays to the Audi strengths, Spa. The Audi is known for being a lot faster on the straightaways than the Porsche.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll certainly help him on that one. As Loveridge is just coming out of the pits. I wonder if we'll get a little bit of a simulated battle, what would have been between these two, because where is Loveridge? I think there he is, he's alongside. So Loveridge will try to keep up. He is currently 2 laps down on the race leader after that contact we had at the bus stop where he made a mistake and then rejoined dangerously. Collected this man, Louis Araya, who does not seem to be slowed up much even after that contact, because he has been able to catch up to Solberg and Wilhelmsen as well. Apologies, that's a P2 car ahead, but Wilhelmsen's not too far ahead either. He's only another 3 seconds up the road. Yeah,
that would be Jake Shuri that they just passed and are passing right there. Luis around to the outside, chasing down the 89 of Solberg, and there's Wilhelmsen. That actually is another LP2. I'm just getting I think we're just getting very excited trying to see Wilhelmsen, trying to get a Wilhelmsen in the in a fight right there. As there goes Araya, still chasing down Solberg as they are starting to deal with that traffic right there.
Yeah, Vorp circuit should be one of the easiest to deal with the traffic with. Plenty of long straights, but always a bit wary early on in the season. And of course, these P2 cars, I guess, aren't used to being overtaken, Austin, because really the LMP1 car in the official series, as far as I'm aware, is pretty much dead. And so they're very much used to driving past the GT3s in the IMSA series. Yes. So probably quite unusual for them to have to make way for a faster car.
So, some of the drivers might be having to go back into slower traffic school and just understanding this, but you know, sometimes Some of the drivers don't even realize that the LMP wants to just cruise past them because of the long straights here, but when they get to a much more twisty track, they're going to have to pick and choose on what to do if the fast car gets behind them. I know a few times where the slower cars, they will use the faster drivers as a little bit of a block measure on their rivals behind them, and you know, start defending for the faster class to set them up to pull away from their closest rival. It works. It's a very big brain move. It will infuriate everybody else except for who is pulling off the block. But I don't think we'll be seeing that here with these massive details of the speed. Let's run on board of Lockie Brown as we're chasing down through the field. There's one of the lap cars, and Lockie just being very conservative through this section, heading into No Name right there. And once out of No Name, turn on the boost, pedal to the metal, swing past him, and in through Pruon. And Pruon in an LP1 is just, oh my gosh, just watching that is putting my lung onto the right side of my body right there.
Yeah, that was past Damerick there, and made very quick work. Such incredible acceleration in these LMP1 cars, over 1,000 brake horsepower when they get the battery going, when they get all the electrical power being deployed. And Brown is using that to good advantage and absolutely sweeping his way past all the drivers. That was Kofod that time round, the Danish driver. He was able to get past. Next up will be Jaden Burke, who is P2 out of the P2 AM drivers. By the way, Thomas Mork in the lead of the P2 AMs. He is actually 5th place overall. He's ahead of both Pigments and Grosseto, who are P2 Pro. So very good effort right now from Mork. And well, you can see on the timing tower how far ahead he is of the others when the lap times come across. That was Burke really messing up La Source and made it even easier for the Australian driver to move through. He was having a very nice Friday evening drive, now 14 seconds clear of the rest.
Yeah, 14 seconds clear, and yeah, it's pretty much already checked out of that situation right there. As Lockie Brown, fantastic start right there, but you know, you still got the pit stops, and we've seen races fall apart in the pit stops here as well. Because that pit entry is tight.
Well, I'm surprised, Austin, because you're absolutely right that it is a very tight pit entry, and yet I swear I never see people crash on it, even though it seems like such an obvious one, compared to, say, Daytona pit exit, where everyone crashes. Well, I think whenever you do like a warm-up, not anymore necessarily because you got the pit limiter, haven't you? But at least how it used to be really tricky and everyone would crash. I feel like at Spa you don't see that many issues around here, which is an odd one. Maybe the drivers are just so aware of how tricky it is.
Yeah, it really is a very tricky situation. Speaking from experience, it's very easy to do. It's a very misjudging corner. Now, when they're heading into the pits, we've seen this from past seasons of drivers mostly preferring in the halfway point of the series, but sometimes some drivers might go for an undercut strategy, as Brian Pigmans goes for a overcuts strategy of the chicane. Not the best of strategies, but it's a very aggressive placement of the bumper right there by Grosseto. Grosseto down to the inside. Thought about it. Sold the dummy. Caught me out on it. I would have gave room.
Well, he tried to go for the dummy earlier on, didn't he? And it didn't work very well.
Unfortunately, the dummy turned into a punt. This time, Grosseto, you know, he got the long straightaway right there, and he probably was thinking about that. It was like, you know what? I'm just going to get the draft down the straightaway and just get right up on the bumper, go down to the inside, wave goodbye, and look on towards my next target. And he does just that, re-entering the top 5 for the LMP2 Pros.
Really demonstrates just how strong the draft is in this car. I remember commentating on the Sim Racers World IMSA Sports Car Championship, which also had the P2 machinery. Hang on, was it? Yeah, it was Sim Racers World. And it was very much the same thing where, yeah, you could be that far behind and just get loads of the draft. And that was very easy also. So you had DRS there, did Grassetto. Running a little bit wide there was Pigments. 20 instants the drivers are limited to. I actually have access to how many instants each of the drivers have, so I will keep you updated if anyone's getting close. But so far, everyone below 10. In fact, this man, Grassetto, on the highest of anyone. He is on 9 incidents, so got to be a little bit careful to the end of the race.
One of those is car
since
contact.
they changed the 1Xs, it's been a bit easier around this trim.
And one of those is that 4X car contact, which I can guarantee he got from that chemistry incident.
Yeah.
This is Wilhelmsen down the inside. He's got a LP2 on the outside, but right behind him it's Luis Araya. Araya got past Solberg, and now he's on the back of Wilhelmsen right now. Araya getting right onto the bumper right there, faking onto the outside, looking down to the inside. It's Araya backing off right there, and we saw him use this boost technique coming out of this corner at the start. Are we going to be seeing it again but from that Porsche compared to that Audi? Yes, we are. He dumps the boost, but he's not going to go for the move right there because we got El Rouge Radion and that long straightaway. Are we going to be seeing what we just saw with Grassetto for Araya? As there goes Wilhelmsen dumping the boost to get past that LMP2 right there and leaving Araya stuck behind the 22 in front of him of Martin Corfed. And here comes Araya. He's now going to dump the boost and try to catch up to Wilhelmsen up ahead. So boost strategy and boost maps, definitely a thing here in this series. And you can see Araya catching right back up to Wilhelmsen. As Wilhelmsen got caught up and is being held up right now through Lecombs. So kind of a pick and choose your battles right here for these two.
Yeah, very interesting, the tactical use there. Seemingly Wilhelmsen desperately deploying the boost in order to get ahead before Eau Rouge. That's going to really hold up Burke, who's going to be under pressure from Kofod due to that. But yeah, Araya a little bit more happy just to wait behind. Didn't deploy the boost coming out of La Source. Unfortunately messed up Lecombe slightly, and that cost him any chance of making much impression on Wilhelmsen, as that was Solberg just lapping Burke as well, staying in touch with these two drivers.
Entering no-name corner, Wilhelmsen had to overtake Jaden Burke coming out of Brussels. Araya was let by, so Araya was kind of helped out in that situation, and that Porsche, it has been closing on Wilhelmsen, especially through this corner right here. So Araya definitely being able to recharge those batteries and not having to lift off as much. Down to the inside, Araya. And Araya takes third. And Wilhelmsen, you saw him hitting that curb. Can we get a camera on or Wilhelmsen's rear end? I believe they might have floor damage. The Audi is very easy to tell if they have floor damage by that kind of grate they have above the diffuser, and it can get a little bit bent right there, as Araya, I do believe, has a little bit of a handling issue right there. Not Araya, Wilhelmsen has a little bit of a handling issue, as I believe he does have floor damage, as Araya gets past the 127 and gets past the 106 of Pigments and Fabio Grassetto. And there is Wilhelmsen right behind. And yes, that bodywork does seem a little bit bent around the rear end of that car for Wilhelmsen. So the curves at the end of the track, the bus stop chicane we saw him attacking, that will definitely hurt the underbody of the car.
Yeah, and he'll have to wait till his pit stop in order to get that fixed. He might use his fast repair in order to get it fixed if he feels like it's losing him too much time, or he might save that fast repair in case he has a big crash later on. Either way, you know, really want to pick that up if you can avoid it. There's Dan Cutty. He's actually been able to pull away a little bit from Sivi Sabi. He was 3/10 faster on the previous lap. On this lap, he's pulled away by another 3/10, I believe. You can see it hasn't been a big jump at any point, but just seemingly establishing that slight advantage he has got. I think the P2 should be able to go about 40 minutes into this race, maybe a little bit short due to the high fuel consumption of this Spa circuit, as a fast lap of the race there for Kraft, and that was the best lap he has done so far. and pulls out the gap nicely. Foggy so far not with much of a response to these drivers, but still just 3 seconds off the lead. That might be, that's sort of in the window if he is able to save a bit of fuel, Foggy, to do some kind of advantage, as Wilhelmsen and Araya battling hard. Wilhelmsen has got back that position past Araya. Araya seemed very slow through La Source.
Yeah, I think Araya might have got caught up with the traffic. The 229 of Thomas Mork was getting very loose up ahead, and here's Araya heading in. Oh, okay, never mind. It wasn't even a lap car. It was Araya locking up the brakes, spinning around, and Araya, one of our fellow broadcasters here on Apex Racing TV, told me not to show that. Sorry, you've entered a race you willingly knew was being broadcasted on here. We will show that in slow motion.
Did we get an onboard of that?
I think an onboard of that would be very
and totally not because it's
not
one of us.
Right. Yeah, no.
But because I think we really need to show the onboard.
We need to dissect this incident. We really need to dissect
I think we
this.
do, because I think there's a lot more than meets the eye. So let's just see this. Let's see the talent here. So the talent at the moment is around 90% here, and then you see it absolutely crash and burn. It's dissipating. It's going into the minus numbers, and his confidence will be hit by that, and rightly so, because wow, I mean, I hope his family aren't watching, Austin, is all I'm going to say, because I think some tensions would have been flared, because I think he's let them down.
Yeah, he definitely his rear brakes definitely let him down right there. The brake bias is a little bit too far rear, and that's what will cause that incident. But you know, that'll be all on Luis for having his brake bias set that low in the first place. So that's all on Luis right there, and hopefully he doesn't get the shame bell after this race. But I think he might be redeeming himself, catching it on the back of Wilhelmsen, looking down the inside. Hopefully he sets his brake bias a little bit farther forward so he doesn't lock up right there, and nails it through that time. Okay, he's learned.
And now he can use... I don't really know what the slipstream is like in this cartoon. It's so tricky to judge because they're constantly applying the boost, and so it's difficult to tell what's the toe and what's...
But here comes a riot down to the inside, definitely dumping the boost right there, and he's got the 12 on the outside of Lorentzen, so unable for Wilhelmsen to get back right there, and Araya back into third.
And so he's got 8.5 seconds to catch up to Wells. Their best lap times, Wells was faster, but Araya's fast lap isn't very good even in comparison to Wilhelmsen, and we know that he's much faster than Wilhelmsen, so not sure what's going on with Araya. I mean, he only qualified in 8th, he was last of the qualifiers, was Araya. I don't know what was going on there, so difficult to tell what his pace is as he's off the circuit again. And you can still do that with the new layouts, but now if you go much further than that, you will go out into the gravel, because this entire circuit is now now surrounded in gravel. It's like a track in the middle of the desert, honestly, because it's just beige and cream all around the track edges.
As how most tracks should be, having a meter of gravel outside of the curbs to prevent drivers from, just whipping out of a fight and cutting across the corner to regain an advantage ahead of him. And we continue on.
As we suddenly lose half our viewers. Thanks for that one, Austin. Of course, he famously, had that Raikkonen incident at the final chicane back in 08. Which you got to admit, Austin, he shouldn't have got a penalty for that. I think we can both agree on that one.
I wasn't watching Formula 1 back in 2008.
But you know the incident, don't you? Actually,
no, I don't.
Really? Okay,
yeah,
well, it's iconic. I remember crying as a 7-year-old when I heard he got a penalty, and I was absolutely upset, so, yeah.
I think 2008 was the only...
Oh no, someone's crashed it. Someone's done it on the pit entry. There you go, I jinxed it. Lovely stuff. Well done, Jaden.
I said it was hard. I said it was a hard pit entry. I was making the point for the LP once, but the LP teams, even being a little bit smaller, will still be difficult on this pit entry. You saw the smoke in the air, and this is what happened to Jaden. Just too much. Oh, that's too much on the inside. Oh my gosh, ending up upside down. Well, that would have been a pit entry and then a pit exit all in well, half a second right there for Jaden Burke, and he's probably shaking his head and wiping the sweat off of his brow from that. Luckily, the fast repair took an effect to get rid of that suspension damage that he definitely got from that. And oh my gosh, hearts in mouth situation right there. And also maybe your lunch, because upside down, not fun.
Much further, and he would have gone down the cliff that you have on the pits entry there, and he would have died. So,
yeah, I wouldn't say
goodness.
that. I wouldn't say that. Would have been mentally scarred.
We might see actually what the I don't know. Well, I don't think there's a camera angle that demonstrates the cliff. That's
there is a big
on
cliff
the outside there. Oh, there was a
Brown.
slide there for Brown, race leader.
He's showing off. He's 23 seconds in the lead. He doesn't really need to be taking it easy.
He was still faster than everyone else in that lap. Ooh, side by side between Marks and Burke. So Burke is the orange car here, now on the outside going into Lafania chicane. Slight drop out there for the 209. It looked as though Burke was able to keep that position. He is down 4 places from his start, Burke, but he has already made his pit stop. So that is the reason for that. As De Philippis comes into the pits, he was behind Solberg, wasn't he? So he is currently in 6th place. He will lose out to Robertson, though.
Yeah, De Philippis in the pits. As there is Chase Robertson, who's the chase has been pretty good so far this race, as they're side by side with Grosseto and the 229. Thomas Mork getting a pass on track, but not a pass for position, as Mork goes down to 6th place in the LMP2s, but stays in the lead of the Pro 2 AMs, and Grosseto moves up to 5th place overall. So top 5 overall is LMP2s. Pros.
Yes, you're right. Yep, I was very confused for a moment there, Austin, but no, you are correct.
I saved it. I saved it.
Top 5 are the pros. Grosseto, of course, with that instant earlier on, he is much faster, as we are aware. Maybe could catch up to Lewitz, and he's 10 seconds behind Lewitz, and we'll keep an eye on what his times are. On that last lap, he only gained by half a tenth of a second, but he may have been slightly held up, so could still be time for the Italian to make amends for that incident, albeit he will be susceptible to a penalty, and of course these drivers may protest each other post-race, and if the stewards thinks that a penalty is worthy, then they could get a 5-point penalty, a 10-point penalty, and also pit lane starts as well could be assigned to them. So you want to avoid that if you possibly can.
Yeah, any incident is protestable. But it's mostly car contact based. So any track extensions for exploiting the track limits, Ultra Park, that will be just immediately waived because Sam here reviews them.
Not all the time.
Mostly Sam. It's mostly Sam.
It's sometimes me.
It's mostly you.
I'm
not salty at all.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, yeah. I don't think I'm doing it for this series, though. I will point that out, though. I will just say that.
Well, if you get into an Apex Racing League race with Sam as the race control penalty giver or race reviewer, Sam is a firm believer of a foot over the line is a totally okay thing, judging by his stance on a particular potato incident.
Okay. I mean, you need to bring it up. I get that.
I'm saying you're a lenient person.
I mean, he didn't touch the red green, but you know.
Here we go again. I'm just saying you're lenient. If it was me, anybody who has a foot just touching or just breathing against the white line, penalty.
I think it's quite black and white, but we'll try to spare the viewers. I don't want to let the viewers hear more nonsense from yourself, Austin. So we'll change topics here, and move to a crash for Roberto De Filippis.
That's coming out of
And this is
P1.
bad news for De Filippis because he's already come into the pit,
Oh,
and I
damn it.
fear he may have already used his fast repair, which would mean game over for him. Now, he may not have used his fast repair. He didn't have any damage earlier on, and so he may have just decided to untick the fast repair, and he'll still have it spare. However, I think it's quite a natural
That's
instinct
big
for
hit.
drivers to take it whenever they can. And here it was. He was already slightly offline. He's gone too wide. And has he got on the bump?
Oh,
Oh,
the bump off the
he's
exit.
launched it. I can't believe that he didn't know that bump was there. I mean, that's the #1 mistake he make at Spa.
I've hit that bump so many times, maximizing through P1 in the touring car this week. It is absolutely a deadly corner right there. Even in a sports car that is okay with bumps, it will still launch you in the air because you're just hitting that thing right as the curb is starting. And as we saw, airtime plus finely tuned engineered car, they are not the best airplanes, and that really upset the car and shot him off the track, and that's a lot of damage. You're gonna need more than
Let's see if it
to fix that. Hey!
does
there
it.
we go.
Yay! He had the fast repair spare. Well done, Roberto. That was smart. Smart thinking. Didn't take it at the pit stop. He will lose a position to.
Solberg.
Did he lose a position? I don't think he did lose a position.
I
to
believe
anyone.
he's ahead of Solberg.
I mean, he's a long way behind Solberg now. He's
Well,
lost.
and this
He's either.
And
Yeah.
the strategy is just going to completely negate an entire pit stop. So at the end of the pit stop cycle, I believe we shall see him battling with Charles Robertson.
No, but he'd already made a pit stop. I think.
Yes,
at De
yes,
Filippis.
yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So.
When all this is over, he's going to be about.
Okay,
6.
yeah, I think you're right. Yep. Oh, here comes the leaders. All 3 of them. So Foggy wasn't able to go any extra laps. That was really his last hope. And you can see how far behind he was. Kraft just absolutely rapid. They won't be changing their tyres. That would take
It's all
too
gonna be
long.
fuel.
Yeah, and so
And
don't
these
expect much of a
drivers-
change.
Some of these drivers have their own way of calculating fuel. Some already have it preset of how much fuel they're going to be setting up. Foggy, in this situation, he's qualified on pole. If he short pits this stop and doesn't fuel as much as everybody else does, he could come out in the lead right here of the LP2 Pros, but it's going to be Kraft and Stevie Sabzo, and then there's Foggy. Foggy taking a very long pit stop. There he goes. He's out of the box right now. Foggy took a lot of fuel.
And Grassetto was overshot his marks. So pit stop times. Kraft 23.4, Civi Sabo 21.7, Foggy 22.6. So Kraft the longest. That's what you would expect because Kraft was out in the lead for pretty much that entire stint, punching a hole into the air, whilst his teammate was able to save a bit of fuel in the toe. Foggy just by himself, still a long way ahead of Loritzen. Grassetto. Ooh, Grassetto with a very long pit stop, 35 seconds, and that was not just because he went too far in his box. That is something else.
Somebody might have forgot to untick tires.
Good shout.
That would be the only way that I see that. Forgot to untick tires or accidentally turned off the car, which has happened to one of our close friends of ours. Not John. Hi, John. I think Marco did that once. We had a pit stop, and unfortunately, he turned off the car because he wanted to type something in chat, but he didn't hit his text key, and he hit his ignition key instead. And he didn't realize the car turned off until after the pit stop.
Oh dear. Well, if there's a mistake to be made, Marco has done it for sure. So, shout out to Marco if he's by some miracle listening along. Maybe Marco listens to all of our broadcasts. I'd like to think he does. Absolute legend of.
In spirit, he does. In spirit, he does.
In spirit, yeah. LMP2 AM leader in Mork is in. It's a very good. Sorry, I'm going quite off topic here, but there's a very good YouTube channel called Mork. He does which does Spider-Man meme videos, but I don't think there's any link there at all. But Yep.
You see, when I transitioned to you and your physics of potato and penalties, at least I had a reason.
I had a reason. His name is Mork. That's the segue. That's the link.
Translates to the race.
Shouts out to the YouTube channel. It's a really good YouTube channel. Mork is back out on track, and he's ahead of Luritzen. So Luritzen, remember, had that long pit stop, and Mork's pit stop, and it was quite a short pit stop for Mork, but not especially short.
10
Just getting
seconds
overtaken
faster.
by
It'll be 10 seconds
Loveridge there.
faster than Luritzen, but Luritzen in that big draft is going to catch right up back to Mork, flashing the lights down to the inside. And Luritzen making that look easy, like Spider-Man flying through the streets of New York City.
And these guys are fighting one another for points. I think it's only a couple of points, but you do get points for your overall class position, car class position. So the P2 Rams and the P2 Pros do have an interest in beating one another. However, you can imagine it's not as competitive because you're kind of thinking that, you know, you're not taking points off someone else, but you're still getting points for yourself if you can win out on that position. Quick shout out, by the way, to SDK Gaming, the providers of our overlay that you see up on screen. It's so useful for events like this when you have multiple car classes. And SDK Gaming also providing our live timing, which keeps us up to date with everything that's going on out on circuit. You can also use it as a fuel calculator app as well for whilst you are racing. So if you want a HUD on iRacing, really there is no better place to go than SDK Gaming. Do check out sdk-gaming.co.uk in order for you to get a subscription. As we see our overall race leader.
Yep, Lucky Brown in the lead, chilling. 36 seconds in the lead. And yeah, Lucky Brown, I can pretty much say at the end of this race when we interview him, I'm going to ask him if Spa is his favorite track. I'm probably 90% sure that Spa is a very well-liked track by Lucky Brown, because this is a dominating performance by him. Not the fastest lap, though. Last time by, he did have that little bit of an incident. Solberg had a faster lap of 156.3. Lucky Brown, just a small mistake, but a lot of boost around here can really just improve your lap time around here, and it's all about maximizing those boost maps. And well, Lucky Brown from Indy Autosport has definitely found out exactly when the right place to boost, when the right place to recharge is, and he's mastered this place.
Yeah, I'm sure he's done so many laps around this track in this car. It's probably the most visited track besides maybe Le Mans. I think that used to be on the calendar every single ILMS, as it used to be called, now called ELMS, I believe. But this one must rank inside the top 3. Such a good track, an iconic track for this variety of vehicle. And so, yeah, he knows it very, very well. But Batsing just ahead there. I think that is not for position, but some close racing nonetheless. As Brown has got a fair few drivers he has to overtake. So that was the 1-3-1 there of Burke. And then in front of him are Luritzen and Mork. And Luritzen, Mork and Burke currently forming a 12, 13, 14 for Danish drivers, as we have Loveridge into the pits, the P1 driver, who of course had to pit very early on due to an incident that he had.
Been corrected in chat. Drivers saying Lucky Brown's favorite track is actually Bathurst or the Nordschleifer. So Lucky Brown, very well versed in his tracks, but Spa's definitely a track that if you've run iRacing, any season in iRacing, any car, almost guaranteed on the roadside that you've driven Spa. And any driver that's new to iRacing has asked me, what would be the track that I gained the most out of? What track is pretty much used by everybody? and I'd just say Spa flat out. I think it is the most racetrack in iRacing.
It's got to be up there with Watkins Glen, hasn't it?
Yes.
Maybe Watkins, I guess, benefits from the oval side of stuff, where it's like the one-off road track.
It's
but,
Spa, Daytona, Watkins Glen. Those are the top 3.
Yeah. Should be
Daytona
obviously
has an entire
Suzuka.
month.
Should be Suzuka. Should be Suzuka, and then Suzuka East, and then Suzuka West.
The 52 on the outside of De Felipe, he caught the bump again while making the move around the outside of the 229. This time didn't get airborne and stayed on track, but De Felipe 2 times hitting that bump on the outside right there, and probably that second time getting a little bit scared at that point.
And he is catching up to Chase Robertson. He is only 5 seconds behind and lapping 3 seconds a lap faster. So he should catch up by the end of the race to the car number 5. He will probably be able to see him up the road. And you can see the lap time difference there, 2.8 seconds difference on that previous lap. I think it'll be a bit closer this time round, but De Filippis gradually closing in, and you can see the LMP1 car up ahead, who he needs to catch. In fact, he lost time on that last lap, but I think that was just due to the high amount of traffic that he had.
And the bump.
And the bump.
Which was also in the traffic, so very rough lap for De Filippis right there, and Robertson's actually still ahead of him, just about 4.3 seconds ahead of De Filippis, and Robertson trying to stay ahead of De Filippis, but De Filippis definitely has the pace. Is right behind him. Oh, that's Jaden Burke spun around the bus stop.
He is all by himself, fortunately, is Burke, who crashed on the pit lane entry earlier on. This happened. He was getting a bit close to the 287 and then locked up the brakes. And as a quick turn, needed to keep the power down. They could have done a nice 360, but instead probably does the wiser thing and reverses and rejoins safely 17 seconds ahead of Justus Marks still, however. Burke, one of the earliest drivers to come into the pits, and we do know he's used his faster pair, so he doesn't want to make contact later on. Welcome to Kevin Kitzelman to the chat. I'm forgetting which championships Kevin has won. Well, no, of course he won. Kevin is the winner of both the NASCAR Trucks and the NASCAR B-Class champion, because the admin for that series was an idiot and thought, this guy won the previous championship, let's put him in the amateurs again and lets him win another championship. So Kevin's got like half the Apex Racing League trophies from the past 12 months in his house, so hopefully he's enjoying them, and he's also in the YouTube chat.
And a proud donator of my current right lung, since those championships have made me go absolutely breathless at times. Some might say his driving is breathtaking.
He won Daytona, didn't he?
Yes.
Which is the only really one that counts. Well, I say that, I mean the one I won at, I can't remember where I won. But the track that I won at, whichever one it was, Kansas, I think?
I don't know, it doesn't count, so, you know, only one race. I think that's the only Apex Racing League that only has that one race. It's just a one and done. The rest of the season is just formality. I don't remember you winning anything.
I remember you getting very excited. Oh, we might have a move actually here between Luritzen and Mork. Mork has been close to Luritzen for a while after the, well, they're both
in the pros.
Danish, but the pro driver got a slow pit stop, but he's actually dropped off a little bit now as Mork, up to 0.7 of a second to gain that gap.
Yeah, Pigmess and Lorenzen are closing on each other. We're looking at Daniel Kraft right now. See him just putting in the pressure on CV Sapson. Once he broke free of that draft, you can see his pace really started to improve on his own. And, you know, when you get out of the draft of the other cars, you just start to just pull away from everybody else.
Yeah, he's yeah, it's been impressive, hasn't he? He pulled away by 1.4 seconds on that last lap. And it's not as though Foggy's catching up to Civi Sabo at all. just crafts in a league of his own. Look at that. Maybe it's the tyres, and as you say, the draft as well. That's probably the biggest thing. You're probably right, but maybe the tyres as well. He does seem to have just got faster and faster as the race has gone on, and so Sabra and Foggy have had nothing to respond with. By the way, shout out to another one of our sponsors for this series, Apex Racing Academy. Apex Racing Academy offering data packs for 29 different cars on iRacing, including the LMP1 car. Apologies, not the LMP1 car, the LMP2 car, my bad. But also many other cars, 28 other cars. I think the Formula 3, the Formula 4, the touring cars, of course. Certainly the Audi is covered as far as I'm aware, along with a couple of the others, GT3 cars, also the Rallycross cars as well. So GT4s, lots of different things covered. Yeah, GT4s.
The GTEs, the Brazilian stock cars, the Indy cars, which has a amazing data pack for this weekend's Indy 500. If y'all want to sign up for that right now. Don't forget about our world-class Rallycross section hosted, which has the iRacing World Rallycross World Champion putting a little input right there, John Robertson, who's actually with us right now, who has an amazing explainer on how to tackle Rallycross right there. So world-class setups, track guides, and coaching on Apex Racing Academy. I can guarantee you it will improve your iRating by at least 1,000, as it has done to mine in 4 weeks.
Yes, and my testimonial is how much fun I had in the IndyCar when I was racing that around Long Beach and a couple of the other circuits. Very good setup. So nice to have a setup which you load into the session and it's already there for you. So yeah, big thanks to Apex Racing Academy. Oh, by the way, I have got to address some of the comments on the YouTube chat. Someone saying that I won one of Bob's wacky races with Eva SR, and no doubt I did. I mean, I definitely did do that. However, I will remind people that I am the BSR Radical Winter Series champion.
Oh, here we go.
And then I also won the Apex Racing League Super Trucks as well. So I just want to put that out there. I won several races, multiple races, and so I don't need anyone's pity, and I don't need anyone's sarcasm or downbeatness, really. Because in the end, I'm far more talented than anyone, I think, in the YouTube chat. So just wanted to put that out there, you know, just to address any claims that were being made. Mork is catching up to Luritzen, and Luritzen's going defensive here, and Mork quite happy to stay behind, maybe leaving it right to the end, or maybe just happy to keep that P2, that race lead in the P2 rounds. Yeah, Austin, it had to be said. So we've got 7 more minutes of this race to go, of this round 1 of the championship. Once again, a reminder: if you want to race in this championship, do go over to apexracingleague.com, get yourself signed up. You can also sign up for any of our other series, our MX5 Championship, particularly our Formula 4 Championship coming up in a couple of weeks. That should be really good. And I think there's there's one more round of the GT3 Trophy, but then we will soon be announcing a new season of the GT3 Trophy as well. And by going to our Discord server, where there is a link to that in the description below, you can see sign-up details about that. Should be announced early next week. Looking forward to that one. Always our most popular championship.
5 minutes, almost 5 minutes remain here in Spa, as we're looking at our race leader in the LP2 Pro category. This is Matt Leveridge, who is still on that uphill battle, trying to catch up to Daniel Kraft. This is actually a move for position, as Matt had that issue at the start of the race, and just trying to catch up to get onto the leading laps of our LP1s, as this is Burke side by side, just around the outside heading into Blanchimont, and behind him is was that Demrich? Ivan Demrich.
It is. Big eye-rating difference between these drivers. Burke 6.5k, Damerick 1.9k. Burke with issues early on, and coming back through the order, he could still catch up to Cathode actually by the end of this race. He's only got 4 seconds to catch up. So he could be able to make that one. Wow, that's super close. And these two have been battling against each other for a couple of corners. De Philippis is ahead of Robertson, but he's now very slow. He almost looks as though he was letting him back past there. Just really odd line. Now he's onto the perimeter of the circuit, and Robertson holds on. This is a real close battle between these guys. They are nowhere near anyone else out on circuits. And the boost comes in for De Philippis. He gets back past, but now Robertson, will he have some extra energy for when they go back onto the pit straight?
I don't think so. Robertson has been pretty slow on the straightaways compared to everybody else. But if he times that right, he could definitely get that position back on De Philippis. And yeah, there are some big eye-rating differences between a few of these drivers, as here comes Robertson around the outside, heading to the source, but overcooks it on the brakes, using the entire perimeter of the track and getting right, just trying to get right in the trap at De Philippis, and on his back, that is Matt Leveridge, not for position, but technically for position if he was still on the lead lap, as he is in 8th place now, and he's going to be challenging Robert De Philippis. Is Matt going to be a little helping hand for Chase?
Yeah, I mean, he could certainly get involved. Oh, here we go with... Oh, Mork has got past them, so Mork is now ahead. Apologies, no, No, I'm just being thick. No, yeah, apologies. He was attacking Luritson there, to be fair.
He still is.
But he wasn't able to get past. I thought he was just going to wait behind, but now here comes the draft, and he can certainly go back alongside if he wants to. So far the defense has been very strong from Luritson, but here comes Mork. He is definitely attacking now, and he's putting at risk this P2 and victory. He's getting his car ahead. He's late too on the brakes. Excellent move there from the 3J1K Racing driver, and he's up into 4th position in the overall P2 standings.
Absolutely nailed that one down the draft, but now he's got to keep it ahead, heading into Puon and all the other stuff onto the inside of the track, because he got that LP1 of Luis Araya, who is, after a spin at La Source that brought shame on his entire family, he's on the podium right now.
And he's not...
And, ooh, look at that. Araya helping out Mork right there, just adding a little bit of separation between him and Luritson right there.
Adam asking on the chat, was I in the B-Class Championship? I think you would have noticed if I was in the B-Class Championship, because I would have probably won all the races. No, I wasn't. I was in the Chuck Series 1 at Kansas, and then called it a day, and thought that's my work here done, and retired from ovals forever. So just to address that question, Luritson is back in the draft again. Right, he's only 2/10 of a second behind. He could even go for the move. Is he going to make contact? Oh, well, I think he was desperately trying to get it stopped. He does get it stopped eventually, and that is big contact, and that might be big damage on the rear corner of that car. I think Wilhelmsen will be all right, but I do fear for the number 12, because that could be significant damage for Luritson. Let's see if his suspension's straight. He seems to be very slow, and he might be limping to the end here. Pigmans gets past.
The front left of that car, the 12, is actually kind of into the air just a little bit, and if we ride on board, we could see the wheel might be turning a little bit to the left.
I think it will be on the rear corner. I think that was where the contact was made. So yeah, the steering seems fairly straight, but I think under braking, if we just stay on board with him for a couple more corners, I think you'll see that he's going to be really struggling to get the car slowed.
Yeah, you can see it's just shaking just a little bit, and we'll just sliding that car around. Oh, catch it. Nice catch.
Oh, don't push it, Alexander. You're not going to catch up to Pigmans. Just settle for 5th.
Yeah, this is a very tough situation for Luritson, but you see on how active he is on the wheel, as well. This wheel work kind of looks like a IndyCar in the wet. compared to a Dallara LP2 and how it usually is very smooth and very precise.
Heads up about the instance, by the way. We have got 19 instants for Wilhelmsen. He is on the limits. We've also got 18 for
Also, Wi-Fi.
Araya. Yeah, so you just need to make sure they don't push it too much further. Burke also got 20, so he's been in for a drive-through, I think, already, has Burke. And when I say Burke, I mean Jaden Burke, not Matthias Burke. Geez, that's going to be confusing for the rest of the season, isn't it? But, yeah, so he is the only one so far with the drive-through. But, yeah, Araya and Wilhelmsen need to make sure they don't have any off-checks on this last lap. It could be problematic. As Brown, with just a couple more corners to go on this final lap of the race. And it has been a very dominant performance from him. 50 seconds up the race.
Yes, I was about to say 50. Honestly, Lucky Brown can park it up at the bus stop chicane and drive backwards across the line.
Yeah, there's been no stopping him whatsoever. And this could be, and probably is, a sign for what's going to come for the rest of the season. The Australian for Indy Autosport rounding the final chicane now. And it's going to be Lucky Brown to take the first race of the season in the Apex Racing League Prototypes Championship. Lucky Brown wins. Jack Wells will probably be in second place. Now, who's going to be the next across the line? I think it'll be Dan Kraft, because still, with most of the lap to go, is Thomas Morg. But Kraft, 7 seconds clear of the rest of the order. He has been just, yeah, more and more impressive as this race has gone. It'll be a nice one too, as well, for Pure Sims Esports.
Yeah, Daniel Kraft, very great day for the Pure Sims Esports team. Fantastic off the line, immediately getting the lead off of Foggy, and just outpaced him then. As a Pure Sims 1-2 as Civi Salzburg comes home in second place. Daniel Kraft taking the win. There is Jack Wells coming across the line for P2 in the LP1, and in the LP2 finishing second. In the pros is Civi Salzburg. There is Nico Foggy in third place. And there's a Luis Araya taking third place after that little spin right there. And here comes Thomas Mork in the LP2 AM class, coming across the bus stop chicane. And coming across the line, Mork takes the class victory here at Spa. And
that was
P4 overall in all the LP2s. So very fantastic performance right there.
I mean, he's going to be like 10 points clear of the other P2s now, isn't he? P2 AMSAT is, because he's got those cars between them. So that would be a very healthy championship lead going into the rest of the season. Here comes Kafos, who we didn't see too much of, but very good performance. And it'll be a Danish 1-2. Congratulations. You've done your nation proud. And Damrick was not far behind, was he? But
yeah, no,
he will finish P3. Yeah, closed in by a second and a half on that final lap. So, yeah, good work from that one. By the way, Trevor McManus coming out with some pretty big words. And you know, Trevor, when you win the BSR Radical Winter Series Championship overall title as an AM driver, you know, maybe you can talk about these things. But I think for now, just you know, maybe hold back on the keyboard typing. All right. So I just want to say, Austin, because I think some people are getting a little bit ahead of themselves. All right. I think it has to be said. Yeah. So there we are. There we are. Get ready for 8 more rounds of these guys, because if you keep on sending this hate messages, then you're going to get the same stuff back. All right. So Lucky Brown was the race winner tonight, ahead of Jack Wells. You can see a minute off was Louis Araya, but considering that Araya started in P8, really good move up the order there for the Hadeland Sim Racing driver. Hilner Wilhelmsen was in 4th position overall. Then it was Diane Solberg, Roberto De Filippis was a lap down there. It was Chase Robertson and Matt Loveridge. Wonder what could have happened to Loveridge. Would he have been P2? We was have had enough pace. Difficult to say because he had that issue early on. Dan Kraft was top of the P2 pros ahead of his teammate Daniel Civisabe. Then it was Nicole Foggy running at the top three. Thomas Mork was top of the P2 AMs. What a great performance that was from the Danish driver ahead of Brian Pigmans. Alexander Luritzen after that pit stop looked like he was set for P4, but it went poorly for him in the second half of the race. Fabio Grassetti had a couple of setbacks. He was in 15th place overall. Then it was Matej Burke, who also had setbacks, but did well because he had to use a faster pair. Morten Cathode was in second place out of the AMs, and Ivan Damrick was third place in that category. Then it was Eustace Marks, Paul Clist, Jaden Burke, Jake Shuri, and Tim Perry. Everyone scores points. Congratulations. 4 laps down was the most, but Perry and Shuri were within 3 laps of their class leader. So congratulations. Everyone scores points. Everyone is happy. No one wasted their time. So yeah, great work to all the drivers. And I will quickly give one more shout out to our last sponsor for this series, Virtual Racing School. And Virtual Racing School offer 50 plus data packs. That's for road and oval racing. And those data packs including setups, track guides, data analysis software, and one-on-one coaching. So big thanks to Virtual Racing School for their support of this championship. Austin, we are going to have some interviews. I've just chatted for a while, if you include the responses to the hate mail I've been getting. I wonder if you wanted to take the first interview.
Yes, I'll definitely speak with our first driver, and our first driver is actually one of our own from Apex Racing TV, Luis Araya, taking third place in the LP1s. Luis, you went up 5 spots to take that podium. You had a little bit of a spin out there today, but other than that, it was a pretty solid day for you.
Thank you much, Austin. It was quite fun to drive. It's awesome car to drive as well. And yeah, I have a little spin in the first corner, and yeah. So, but in all, it was a good race. Just screwed up the qualifications, but yeah, that happens from time to time.
Well, it was a very great race and performance. Recovery drive from that to finish third. Looking ahead on the schedule, is there any track that's really speaking out to you?
Yeah, it's a couple of track actually. It's Le Mans and Monza. It's one of my favorites. Sebring as well. So, but I can't attend that Le Mans, so that's a bummer. But beside that, it's quite interesting schedule. So looking forward to it.
It was great to see you do very good out there here today. Before we let you go to go celebrate this third place and look forward to the rest of the season, anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, my teammate Stian Solberg that drove the other LMP1, and my teammates are watching the broadcast at home, and of course you guys for the broadcasting and everything.
Thank you for a amazing show out there on track. You had a very good fight for third place with Wilhelmsen for a couple laps. How was it like to be racing other LMP1s out there in a league setting? Because I'm pretty sure the LMP1s in the iRacing official series is it a little bit dead out there?
Yeah, I haven't actually been racing for a couple of months, so I was back home on Tuesday night. So I started to look at the setups and everything on Tuesday. So I have a couple of hours before this race. So yes, very fun to drive the LMP1s, and in the league, it's awesome. Just awesome to see that many guys are driving that one because it's a very fun car to drive.
And it does look like an absolute blast to drive out there, especially around Spa. Thank you for an amazing show out there on track. You have yourself a wonderful night, Luis.
Thank you to you as well, Austin, and everyone in the broadcast as well.
And Sam, we do not have anybody actually left waiting in the interview waiting area because I think you made everybody so mad they didn't want to talk to you.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if they're similar to the people in the YouTube chat, I don't want to talk to them. If I'm honest, so because I think the world would be better without Although, I think we have another driver in the interview waiting here. Unfortunately, we haven't got their name at the moment. Oh no,
It's
we
Matt.
do. It is Matt Loveridge, who we will bring into the commentary box. His mic is currently muted, but Matt, are you able to chat with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Excellent. Well, it wasn't the race that you wanted in the end because that early incident kind of set you back. Talk us through that early incident because you seemed so quick in the early stages and then you just seemed to lose it halfway through that chicane.
Well, according to my spotter, I may have hit a small gradient around the bus stop, which caused the car to spin out. Despite reversing, unfortunately, I made a very poor attempt at a rejoin, and my steering was completely broken. And as a result, I just couldn't get back up there.
How do you keep yourself entertained for the rest of that race? Because of course you're driving by yourself. What was were you keeping an eye on your lap times or what whilst you were going out there?
Yeah, I was just keeping an eye on my lap time, so I was just having a casual chat with my spotter at this point.
If you think, or do you think for the rest of the season that you'll be able to keep up with Lockie at all? Because in the early stages, you seem to be matching him on pace. Do you think you'll be close to Lockie, or do you think you'll be just fighting for those P2s?
I reckon I could get close to Lockie, so long as I keep myself out of trouble.
And for the next round of the championship, I'm quickly looking to see what the next round of the championship is Daytona. Could that be a slipstream situation in the LMP1 cars, or do you not really have slipstream races like we maybe see in the GT cars in this specific vehicle?
With LMP1s around Daytona, from what I've experienced anyway, the main points of overtaking will be around the bowl section and the bus stop. There will be a lot of slipstream. There will be a lot of use of boost. I think it can get really, really interesting next week.
Well, best of luck for you, Matt, to get that podium next week. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to my team, Olympus Esports. They genuinely gave me a bit of courage just to actually enter in. I've had a lot of success in LMP1 before, and they reckon I can get this done. Bring a little bit of name recognition to the team here as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Matt. And yeah, best of luck for next week.
Thank you very much.
Matt Loveridge, there, your P8 finisher in the LMP1s tonight. Austin, I think we have time for one more interview.
Yes, we do. We are joined by Daniel Kraft right now. And Daniel, well, he is your LMP2 Pro winner. Daniel, how you started second off the line, but you've led every lap in this race. It kind of seemed like you started up on pole. How was that race for you?
Yeah, it was good, thanks. Yeah, my teammate kept me honest. But yeah, it was a lot of good fun. I literally jumped into the session right before it started, and my graphic settings were all wrong. They'd all changed, so I was rapidly having to change that. So I didn't have much time for quali. And yeah, I only got in one flying lap. So I was happy to qualify where I did. And then yeah, had a good slipstream on that first lap, and then it was all about managing the race from there.
It was a fantastic time to see you out there on track. You absolutely, when you pulled out of the slipstream to Daniel, you kind of left them in the dust. How strong is the slipstream in the LMP2s compared to other cars?
It is really strong. You can gain sort of 2 to 3 temps, especially around Spa. Yeah, you can definitely sit within the draft. But yeah, I was kind of managing the race. I knew as my teammate, I was kind of umming and arming if he was gonna sort of try and make a pass or not. But I think he was quite happy managing the gap to Foggy in third, and then once the LMP1 traffic came, I kind of tried to use that as a pick and try to get the gap then, which I fortunately did. And then it got really close when we pitted, because he was able to fuel save behind me in that first stint. So I think he came out almost in slipstream distance again. So I had to pit in a couple quali laps straight out of the pits, which was interesting on the full tank.
Well, it was a very great race for you. Took the win as a 1-2 for you and your teammate Pure Sims Esports. Is this setting the statement for the rest of the season that y'all are going to be the front runners?
You can't guarantee these things, but we're gonna try our best. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's a
Awesome.
long season, but yeah, we're here to have fun, and we're here to have good racing.
That's always the mindset. Having fun, having great racing. Well, you certainly had a lot of fun out there. Before I let you go, Daniel, anybody you want to thank?
I'd just like to thank the team. I'd like to thank my teammate for working on this setup with me, and the Pure Sim shop, SimLab, free UK gloves, and KRD Designs who do our great paint.
Well, it was a fantastic race by you. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for putting on an amazing show out there. And hope you have a great rest of your day. Back over to Sam.
Yes,
Thanks,
I
guys.
think that pretty much rounds us off for the evening for this round 1 of the championship. Of course, there are 8 more of these to go, and the next one will be same time next week at Daytona, which particularly in the P2 should be lots of fun, and should be pretty good in the P1s as well. Of course, we have lots more coming up on Apex Racing TV over the next few days. We have got, as I should have really looked at it previously, of course we've got the Formula 3.5 on Saturday, which is usually one of the best races of the week. We have the VSCA Sports Car Championship. I think that'll be the first race we've broadcast from that series, and that should be really good. P2 cars in that as well. We've got the Spec Racer Ford on Sunday evening. We've got the iRacing Israel League in the TCR machines. We've got Rick Motec Sports Car Series, and we've also got the final round of the Apex Racing League GT3 Trophy. I think a couple of championships still to be decided in that series. So do make sure to subscribe to Apex Racing TV to keep an eye on all those things. Also check out our social media as well, where we post reminders about what events are happening, along with little good segments as well from the best moments of each race. So do check out Apex Racing TV on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. Once again, thanks to SDK Gaming, to Apex Racing Academy and to Virtual Racing School as well for sponsoring this series. And if you want to take part in this series or any of our other leagues at Apex Racing League, do visit apexracingleague.com and also join our Discord server. A link to that is in the description below. But for now, from myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, from Austin Knight and from John Robertson, we are going to say goodbye, and we'll see you back in a week's time at Daytona. See you then.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.